Hey FST, I hope everyone's doing well. We are into basic statistics words, okay, into our FST. We're done with the F, and so now we're moving on to the S, the statistics portion of the course. And so we're just kind of starting off slowly with a lot of vocabulary. All right, so you might want to pause it for a moment to make sure you get all of this down. But here we go. Statistics, the science of the collection, of organization, of analysis, of interpretation of data, a piece of information, statistic, a number used to describe a set of numbers, population, the set of all individuals or objects you want to study, a sample is a subset of the population, a survey, interview, or questionnaire to gather information or opinions. A census, survey of the entire population. Of course, you know we're doing the census for 2020 this year, okay, for the United States of America. Representative samples, that's when the sample has the same characteristics as the population. Okay, and then pay careful attention to these two, okay? You're going to have to deal with these on your mastery check. Categorical variable is a variable that's a category, not a number. So when you ask people questions and you say, for example, what's your favorite color? Okay, and then they tell you something in words, they give you a category, okay, like yellow or orange or something like that, or maybe even blue, okay? And then numerical variable is a variable that is a number, not a category, okay? So for example, when you ask a question like, how many siblings do you have? And the answer that someone's going to give you is a number, that's a numerical variable. Okay, so you might want to pause this and perhaps get down this chart, okay, as we answer just a couple of really basic statistics questions. But this data that you see here is from Boston, okay, several years ago, okay, 2,145 selected inline skaters were chosen to take a survey and classify their abilities as beginner, average, or advanced. They were then asked how many pieces of gear they wear in terms of helmets, knee pads, shin pads, and elbow pads, okay? And you can see all of their answers. All right, so taking that into account, okay, I'll make it so you can just see the chart there. Okay, so here's just a couple of questions that we want to make sure that we can answer. Okay, so here we go. Let's start in with the we section. Are the data that you see here in the chart, is it based on a sample or the entire population? So let's just remember, randomly, 2,145 people that are inline skaters were sampled or were asked these questions. And so I think it's a sample, okay? If it was the whole population, then they would have rounded up every single person that's an inline skater and given them this set of questioning, okay? So this was just a sample, okay? What variables do you see that are present here, okay? So I think you can see that as you see in the chart here and here. So I think one of the variables was skill level, okay? And I think the other variable was the amount, or the other question asked, okay? The amount of gear worn, okay? Those are basically our two variables, okay? And then lastly, what percent of skaters wore no gear, okay? So as you're looking at this one, okay, you can see the number of people, whether they're beginners, average, or advanced, that wore no gear was 874. Okay, and then remember, a percent is that number out of the total number of people that were surveyed. Okay, and so if you go ahead and divide this, you're going to get 0.407. Okay, and then if you go ahead and just move the decimal back twice, because remember they said what percent, that would mean 40.7% of skaters don't wear any gear at all. Okay, so pause it for a second, see if you can answer these three questions. All right, and if you answered them correctly, I think here are the answers you ought to be getting. And so why don't you get to the practice? Good luck.